Hey guys, WorldKingKanji here once again with another DBZ game review. And this week I'm going to be doing one that's a little late to the party, but I'm going to be doing DragonBall Xenoverse, or Xenoverse, or however it's supposed to be pronounced, DragonBall Xenomorph. I've had this game since release day in the UK, and I'd have done the videos soon, but to be completely honest with you, with the speculation of Xenoverse 2, if that is its real name, being announced at the last Tokyo Game Show, and then of course nothing actually being announced, I had intended on including announcements for Xenoverse 2 in the video, but instead I'm just going to mention things I'd like to see included in a separate video after I've posted this one. Waiting any longer to do this video is even more pointless than waiting for Taylor Swift to come out with a song with not about counting, being young, or being dumped. So, basically I just wanted to get this out of the way and let you all know what I thought about it first. So, when I first got Dragon Ball Xenoverse, I was worried it was going to be a bit more like Battle of Z. You know, I saw the videos, I saw the reviews, I saw the weird floating targets on the characters in the videos, and of course I still bought it, being me, but I fucking loved the thing. I thought it was great, I thought it was an amazing game, I thought the graphics were nice and crisp, and to be perfectly honest with you, with all the moves and everything that I was seeing going on, I was thinking, you know, what could be better than this? I loved the creator character, I pretty much loved everything about the game. For about 2 months. And then it became a ball ache to play and felt more like a chore or obligation to play than for fun. I was hiding in the depths of my house shouting, "Xbox, go home," in the fear that it would actually try and start itself up and force me to sit through hours of grinding the same mission over and over again in order to unlock a piece of clothing I thought I wanted, only to find it doesn't fit my character's ability type, and therefore apparently my character thinks it's too ugly to wear whilst it's doing a Kamehameha without butchering the move's power level. Well, fine! Fuck you, Yardrat clothes and your stupid puffy white turtleneck. I guess I'll just stick to the cheap second-hand shop clothes that smell like piss and vinegar. But, in honesty, the story mode had some great ideas, excuse me, although in realism I think for what it is, it should have given you the option to create the bad guy as well, which would have been ace. Something seems as appealing as making both the hero and the villain in the Dragon Ball story. Even if it just replaced Mira's part in the game as the tough guy villainous sidekick that just stands next to a scantily clad blue demon woman with a stripper pole. Speaking of the creation, I have to admit, I was actually pleasantly surprised with most things in the creation suite, but was a bit disappointed with the lack of facial hair. Now, I know the characters that have beards and don't resemble Master Roshi in the universe are like slim to none, but that's what would have helped make the character not really look the same as every other character that had ever been invented. And why not throw in a nice hefty Mr. Satan moustache or something? But generally speaking, the game felt like a draft for future styles of this RPG ilk, with a lesser theme unlike Dragon Ball Online had. It was a nice try, but I think most things this game had that bothered me were the things that could have easily been solved in later installments. But anyway, I'm going to do a couple of quick-fire annoying things in Xenoverse now. I'm trying to speed through this review because I know that this game is getting quite old now, and most of you have either played it or, you know, maybe thinking about waiting it for drop in price before you actually go and get it, which does make sense, but I'm just, you know, I don't want to waste your time with this, so. Anyway, quick-fire annoying things in Xenoverse. Grinding the same level over and over and over to get the random bonus fight at the end of the mission with a chance of encountering the drop item. For fuck's sake, the amount of times I've redone some levels just to try and get the chance to get an item. And then the item doesn't drop and you've wasted about 2 hours of your life doing the same level for 15 minutes at a pop. Ugh. Hairstyles when you turn SSJ just turn gold and they don't actually change your style, so if you've got one that's like, I don't know, some sort of, you know, rocker mop falling over your head or something, and then you turn Super Saiyan, it doesn't actually go up. It doesn't do a Trunks thing where it raises, it just kind of turns gold. So it's not really a accurate representation of what actually happens. Frieza's race, or as they call in this game, the Frost Demons, can't transform. So basically the Super Saiyans are the only race that can actually transform, which is a bit of a missed opportunity on my part, because I kind of think that maybe the Frieza race, you could have designed a final form from and a starter form. Even if it's only got the 2 forms, it's better than having none, and I think that it was actually quite and it was a good idea that missed out, and considering the fact that that Frieza transforms, in fact actually Frieza's entire family transforms more than any other actual villain or character in the show, It seemed like a bit of a obvious choice to me, but however. Oh god, after level 85, leveling up takes far too long. With very little to aid your progress besides playing the one same mission over and over again until you've unlocked level 93 and get the Elder Kai to do his unlock ability. But then you get so sick of the game you don't actually want to play it anymore. Leading on to the next bit is general repetitiveness. That's just the tip of the iceberg with this game. It's just so repetitive. There are some aspects of this game where I don't mind playing the repetitive parts over and over again, but there's still a limit to the amount of times you want to play the Great Ape Festival over and over again. Returning to the lobby after every online mission is also a pain in the ass. Even if you want to do another mission with your friends, you still have to go back to the lobby. It's stupid. Games haven't done that for years, and I don't know why they've all of a sudden decided to try and go back to doing that. The inability to heal NPC computer teammates in parallel quests, or actually in the main missions, as I was about to reference, is the Bardock Time Crystal mission, where all of it is doing is flying around, blasting enemies, going, EVERYTHING! And then dying immediately after. It's just a pain in the ass. You know, I remember the first time I did it, I was like, this won't be a problem, I'll just take some healing items. Got halfway through the mission, and I was fine, my health was still full. I was blasting people. And then all of a sudden it just goes, mission failed, Bardock is dead. And I was just sort of thinking, well, yes, generally that is what happens at the end of this mission. But for some reason, of course, that, he died at the wrong time. I'm pretty sure Frieza didn't even fucking notice the fact he was actually there in the clip. He just kind of floats out the top and just blasts everyone anyway. If Bardock's dead 2 seconds earlier, does it really matter? It doesn't change that much of history, does it? Unless you're going to... Well, I guess unless you're going to include the going back in time to seeing Planet Vegeta before that. And my biggest gripe with the game is the fact you can't fight your other created characters together. Meaning, you can't make 2 characters and have them fight each other. You have to... You've got 10 slots, but you can only use one of them at a time. So you load up that character and then you play against every other Dragon Ball character as that one character. You can't make 2. So if you've got your girlfriend around, you're trying to persuade her to have a game with you or something just for 5 minutes to give you a reason to be able to put it on. If she makes a character or makes herself and you make yourself, you can't fight each other. You can only play sort of single player based on that, and it's really annoying because sometimes, like, I wanted to do my Super Saiyan versus my Namekian or something, but apparently that's not what it's not what Bandai Namco had in or Dimps, or I forget which one the developer is, but whatever they had in store for us, apparently that's not what they had on their agenda. Did I mention that I hate the random drops? I hate the random drops. I'm just going to put that a bit further out there. I hate the random drops, by the way. Quickfire good things in Xenoverse. Character creation, 10 slots. Just mentioned this a minute ago. I love the fact that you didn't just have to have one character. I love the fact you could have multiple. Now all we need is the ability to have fights with them. Story mode is a nice story we haven't played through before. Okay, yes, it's the same scenarios, but it's got a different twist on them. So obviously, as opposed to just playing, Saiyan, Frieza, Cell, Majin Buu, you've got little bits going on in between where it actually mixes them up. So you actually do Cell and then you do Android, which is quite cool. Sorry, some weird noises came in from outside my window. Future Trunks is back in the game, and it tries to make you feel as though it's the actual Trunks from the... to reference Aquaman's video. The Heart timeline, it actually tries to make you believe that it is the original Future Trunks that you see in the actual story. Which is really nice. It was a nice little flowback. Flowback? It was a nice little throwback. The DLC tries to explain how GT is connected, trying to say it's an alternate timeline spewed off from when Trunks went back in time. And then Trunks explains this in the DLC GT missions when he's sort of going on about other me, when he's actually on about the Trunks from GT. And that's it was a nice little nod to it, because it was at least trying to make sense of it, even if they're only doing it in the games. The way they go about it doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but it was a nice try. It was better than just sort of saying, have some DLC GT missions, but we're not going to reference how it doesn't actually fit in or anything. So it was nice that they tried to. The actual DLC as well is another good thing about it. The game didn't just kind of stop and go out of date as soon as it came out, which other Dragon Ball games have obviously done in the past. I know a couple of them have tried doing DLC, but they've just kind of been like, oh, have an extra character. it was nice that they actually did extra missions for this, and I was I was pleased to see that they didn't just forget about it as soon as they released it. And I like the fact they didn't let it go so out of date. By the time Fakatsu no F had actually come out, or Resurrection F, they'd actually tried to add Golden Frieza and SSGSS Goku and SSGSS Vegeta, or Super Saiyan Blue. You know, they've actually tried to include them, so that was fun. Oh, for fuck's sake. Sorry, I'm getting messages. Ah, and a great point about this game. The game doesn't lick Broly's arsehole as much as some of them are done. Fuck's sake. The music's original soundtrack is actually pretty good. The game began to annoy me with having similar sounding soundtracks every time they had a new game. But the soundtrack to this one actually sounds like they've put a bit more production into it. So not every song sounds exactly the same. It's not... And don't get me wrong, I love the Tenkaichi series, but Tenkaichi 3, Tenkaichi 2... You played me a piece of music, I wouldn't be able to tell you which game it was from. I'd just be like, guitars sounding like they're trying to come from the 90s and thinking this is what kids want to listen to. It was very... You know, I didn't really rate the soundtracks at all. To be honest, the last time I actually listened to a Dragon Ball Z game and went, you know what, this soundtrack is awesome, was probably the Budokai series. I remember at the time I wasn't crazy about the music, but by the time that Tenkaichi and all the later games like Raging Blast had come out and they had similar soundtracks, I remember sort of thinking, the Budokai music was good. And then when they released the HD collection and didn't have the original soundtrack on there, I did actually miss it. So that was how I knew that I actually appreciated the time that went into that soundtrack. And finally, my last favourite good feature about Xenoverse was the element of free roam that they added. They tried to make it a little bit like GTA, or... Sorry, they didn't try and make it like GTA. I suppose a more accurate way of putting it was they tried to make it a little bit like Destiny. In the sense you had that lobby, and you'd run around and you'd start a mission, and you'd fuck off into the mission. Which was really cool. It was a bit small, there wasn't a whole lot to do, but it was something. And that, to me, it was nice. It was something that I hadn't seen them try and do before, and I think they did it quite well. The only thing I'd like to see maybe in future, and this is a spoiler for the next video I do, which will probably be Xenoverse 2, what I'd like to see included. I want to see a big lobby, like, with elements of the flying over the globe part of Ultimate Tenkaichi and Budokai 3, where you sort of fly around the world, you land on your location. I'd love it if they had different lobbies in different cities, so depending on what city you tried to fly to, you saw obviously different people who were in that city at the time. Just add in some mini-games and stuff like that. I just think it would add a bit of uniqueness to it. But anyway, without going into more stuff and spoiling my next video, well, I think that about does it for my brief summary of this game. On the whole, I actually really do like this game. Not as much as I did when it first came out, but in fairness, I have played this sucker to death before I reviewed it. I've been playing it since February, whenever it came out. When I first got it, everything from the visuals to the gameplay sold me immediately. I wasn't paying attention to the targets on the screen, even though that did originally sort of make me get put off the game. But anyway, thanks for watching this review. I was originally intending on addressing possible things I wanted to see in Xenoverse 2 in this video, but I'm going to make another one soon, just add them all in that. Anyway, thanks guys. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe to start training on WorldKingKanji's planet. Cheers guys!